Hey everyone, we've got Luke here this week, and no Derek.
You're
How you
welcome.
doing?
I'm great. How are you doing? Probably not so great after this morning or whatever time that game happened.
This
I don't
afternoon.
remember. Yeah.
We can talk about that. I feel a lot better after that match than I did at the beginning of last season. But we can talk through that. How have you been, man? I just don't see you. I see you on this podcast like once every, I don't know, 2 months, and
Sounds about right.
and sometimes for a dog exchange. So yeah, what have you been up to? The world wants to know.
The Discord wants
This
to
is
know.
completely true. When you are on the podcast, those episodes do like about 25% better
I'll take it.
on average. Yeah, in terms
Got
of
some listeners making poor decisions.
yeah, which I don't like. The weird thing about that is the titles don't usually indicate that you're in the episode. So like
Then
somehow
you should just title it with my name. Luke's back.
yeah,
Listen, Luke's here.
Luke's special every time you're here. Yeah. So what's up? What have you been up to? You were like in Minnesota again?
Yeah, I've just been traveling a lot, both for work and personally. Tess and I were in the Wisconsin, Minnesota, Chicago world to see our godson, and then go spend some time on the Mississippi River on a pontoon, which was fun for about a week. Really great seeing our godson as well, of course. But yeah, a lot of travel for work, man. Like I've been in Nashville, in Greensboro, in Louisville, like just a little bit of everywhere. And yeah, just nonstop.
Is
at
that
the
just
moment.
a new norm for you with this job, or is this is it a feature of the fact that you're new there, or yeah?
I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely will travel a little bit more. Thank God I'm going to hire someone in North Carolina who will help me down there. But, I'll be traveling a little bit more for the role for sure. But we're going in, excuse me, burpee. Oh, that soccer. 11s gets me fucked up. Playing 11s just destroys
Yeah,
my body.
Luke just played. It's like 100 degrees outside, and
Yeah.
Luke just played. So
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible decision. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a feature of the job, but also because I'm new, I'm kind of running a little bit with my head cut off.
Yeah.
Just kind of the nature of growing with such a cool company into a larger role. But once I have my feet under me, once October, November, December is over, which is the busiest part of the year in the spirits industry, I should get it under control a little bit more. Hopefully, be around a little bit more consistently.
I still have not had any Bardstown stuff ever. Yeah.
Sounds like you're making a mistake. I can bring some samples over.
You'll have to try some sometime. But
yes. We shouldn't make it a infomercial about Bardstown, but got some fun stuff. It's all tasty, so it's a great company to work for. Really,
yeah.
couldn't be happier. Just busier than I've ever been.
Cool. Would you say, if you were unhappy about your job, would you say it on this podcast?
Well, the long-term listeners will hear me be around much more and be a little bit more pessimistic about the world probably back in I don't know, this time last year when I was starting up with the podcast. So you never know. Yeah. I probably wouldn't be as gracious about how busy I've been. It's been, usually I'd be like, fuck this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck am I even doing? But
Yeah, you don't seem to remember any conversations we have, but you did back then. You were like, "Do not ask me about work on the podcast." You were like, "It's off limits. Like, do not ask me."
I will say something that I might regret.
Yeah.
It's still probably the best way to go, just because I'll just say something random that I have no filter most of the time. But no, I'm liking it. It's just really busy. Just another level up.
Yeah, I had this thought the other day. Like when you are on a first name basis with the liquor store owner or whatever, cashier, I'm like, that's Luke doing his job. When Derek is, it's like cause for concern.
Yeah,
Like in the like group chat, you guys were like talking about some, like I guess the owner of one of the local liquor stores, and Derek was referring to him by first name, and you knew who he was. I was like, well, that's Luke's job. Derek might have an issue.
To be fair, okay, a couple things about that moment. All right, to be fair, I introduced Derek to Justin. Okay. Everybody go to All View Liquors in Ellicott City. It's awesome. Justin Jarvis, love you so much. I did introduce Derek to Justin, but I didn't really introduce Derek, I think, the way he wanted me to. He's been very upset that I excitedly said hello to him by saying, "Fuck you."
Oh, to Derek?
Yeah, immediately was like, "Oh, fuck you, Derek. God damn it." But that's really me just saying I love him, and, well, maybe not love. Love's a strong word, but, I was excited to see him. I just was rude and loud.
Right, yeah. Yeah, if you started being, like, consistently nice to me,
you should be really worried.
I would think there's an issue there, yeah.
Like, once I start directly addressing you and saying, "Fine, what the fuck do you want me there for?" Then you know. Yeah. No, only good things. I've been missing the podcast. I've been listening a little bit more than I did when I was on it more. So, I think
last week sucked, and it was my fault.
No, it was okay. You guys, y'all are also in a consistent. I think I love the part of the show where you try to convince everyone I'm a total degenerate too. Kind of my favorite thing, which is like half true.
I don't think it's a hard sell. We kind of
it's not a hard sell.
We could kind of just like tell, like, you're not a degenerate, but like the lore, like if told a specific way, it does make you sound like I just lost your video. But
I turned it off for a second.
Oh, okay. It does make you sound sort of like a degenerate, even though it is like completely true. Like we make it sound. We leave it up to people's imagination, and it makes it sound
like
worse
if I
than
was
it
just
is.
a casual listener of our wonderful podcast, I'd probably think that I was just like, in a den somewhere shooting up heroin, like, right, Derek will never find me here. Yeah. It's not quite like that.
Not quite. But yeah, I think I told you Shannon's brother, who just popped into the Discord. Actually, Discord's been like popping off, which has been fun.
Yeah, you guys have been yelling me to look at it more. So.
yeah, it's been fun. If you're not in our Discord, you should join, especially with the new season kicking off. It should be fun, and I'm gonna pull some things to talk about from there that I maybe would not have caught if it weren't for people shouting it out in the Discord. So
there should be like a where in the world is Luke Farley,
right?
Hashtag on this.
Like a Luke Watch channel on here. But Shannon,
if found, call this number.
Yeah. Shannon's brother said that. I said this the last time you were on you maybe don't remember this, but the last time you were on the podcast, we talked about how Shannon's brother likes the like degenerate guy Luke, who like nobody knows where he is. I'm sending you. I don't know if that'll.
Are you sending something to me on Discord? Oh, yeah. There you are. I found it.
Yeah. So, Luke doesn't really do Discord, but check out that video on Twitter, x.com.
The Sports Galazzo, CBS Sports.
Yeah. Check that out. Did you see this? This Luton's goalkeeper.
Yeah, took out like two people in the same move.
Yeah.
I did see this. This fucking twat. Like, of course you're gonna get a yellow card. The first one. Yellow card in the face. And he just, like, totally has lost his mind. Yeah. So, like, and then he's surprised. It's like that. They're both yellow card challenges.
So like, he got a yellow card for accumulation because he also had a delay of game yellow. earlier.
Oh, it was earlier. Okay, I do not watch the championship that much, so
This should have been a straight red. Like in the absence of a yellow, you don't think the second one's look how far out of the box he is.
I definitely need to look at it a couple times to really make a determination. But he's being totally out of his mind.
Dude,
He's just
if you're listening to this and you have not seen Thomas Kaminsky absolutely lose it. A guy on the Discord said that it looks like the type of thing he does when he's down a few goals in FIFA and he's just out for blood.
Yeah, just XXXXXX.
Yeah. it's one of the most unhinged things I've ever seen.
I don't know. I don't know if the second one's a red card. I think it's definitely yellow. It doesn't really matter. But definitely 2 yellow card challenges. I just don't think his foot's quite high enough. But I can see it as a red. I don't really have a problem with that. I'm not going to spend time arguing with anybody about it.
So do you think, all right, let's say there's been no delay of game. I guess I don't totally understand how reffing should work in this situation, but the fact that they're back to back.
Yeah, what I would say is,
would you combine that into one? So you would give him 2 yellow cards?
Yeah, and then send them off.
Dude, if I witnessed that as a ref, I'm going just straight red. There's no way.
I think it's hard. Is he denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity? No. Right. Mm-hmm. Is his foot high and in a pretty dangerous situation in the second foul? Absolutely. But I think he's the first foul he makes after time wasting is a yellow. And also, why the fuck was he time wasting in the 31st minute?
Yeah.
How did he get there even?
Dude.
Fucking get him out of the team.
Yeah. That was just absolutely shocking to watch.
I love the that as the first thing you do of the season. We're just gonna fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
No chill, which I respect. He just wanted to hurt somebody.
I guess, yeah. Trying to think of what else.
He's making £10,000 a week to fucking make a decision like that. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
All right, what do we want to talk about first?
I want to hear the reaction to the Chelsea game, man. I watched it today.
You did? How did you watch that and play soccer just now?
The game started at 1:30.
Yeah.
And it started a little late. Jesus, burping all the time. Yeah, it started around 1:30. It started a little bit late, and then the reason we started late, I was like, well, I could get on this podcast and be sweating my face off, or I could just be slightly red. So I went with the latter.
Yeah, we nearly started on time. The time that you picked, which you deny you ever picked. Yeah.
It never happened.
So this went. Chelsea lost 2-0 at home to the defending champions. Really tough draw for the first game of the season. I thought that Chelsea looked okay in this match. Far better than I felt about our opening fixtures last season. Now that said, I think in the PL we didn't lose to Man City. I think we got 2 draws against Man City last season. And they were far more, I guess, entertaining matches than this. Things I'll call out. I think Wesley Fofana is still... It's a little bizarre that he is starting for me. He doesn't look totally up to game speed.
There's a number of managing decisions I think you could ask questions about.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff to talk about with Chelsea. I feel like this last week, it's been this last week, and if everything that happened to Chelsea this last week happened in a month, it would feel like a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the obvious weaknesses in this match for me were Malo Gusto, who did not look as sharp as he normally does. He's no longer playing like a traditional wingback. And I think there's going to be an adjustment there. I think that Reece James is going to look a lot better in this system. He's evidently injured, and he's also suspended the first 3 fixtures of this season.
Two yellow cards, is that right? Or two red cards, straight cards.
Yeah.
Excuse me, straight red
He
cards.
played like 3 matches last season or
yeah,
something.
And got
took
two straight reds.
He was tied for the most straight reds in the league with like very, very minimal minutes. Fofana just doesn't look totally up to speed, and I thought Colwell looked poor too. And sort of a theme but Fofana definitely the worst of the two. And a theme in the preseason was that our center backs look very disjointed, and a lot of the trickery in this system happens in that back line, and it may just be that there's a big learning curve to when people need to be where, who's covering what, these partnerships like really forming back there. It's arguably the most change has occurred there for this team. Yeah. Sassy, I think, was injured. I don't know that I want to see him anyway. And Benoit Badiashile, Sassy, it doesn't look like even made the squad.
How can you even remember how many players there are on the team and who made the squad at this point? Like, really?
Well, so we should talk about that. That's a totally different topic.
It is, but funny.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, but let's finish talking about this match. So Chelsea started. I thought Nico Jackson had a poor match as well. He was offside a couple times, I think,
including once he scored.
Yeah, where if he had just been a little more up, I guess maybe up to match speed, he maybe could have produced for Chelsea in this one. He was injured most of the preseason. It's a new system. There may be some like growing pains there, growing back into the speed of the PL again. You saw this with Nico at the beginning of last season. He was an offside merchant. He was also taking a lot of at the beginning of last season, sort of reckless yellow cards. He got banned for an accumulation of yellow cards, like 5 over. I forget what it is. If you take 5 in whatever period of time, then you get a match ban. He ironed all of that out of his game by the end of the season, so that makes me hopeful. And then probably one of the biggest storylines here. Well, there are 2 for me in terms of selection. One is Nkunku starting on the left, which I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't recall him playing out there in preseason. He was usually central. Instead, you had Enzo Fernandez in that attacking mid role, and also captaining the team, which bizarre. I remember people joking about that, and I talked through. Shannon doesn't follow soccer. She doesn't. I think she knows who most Chelsea players are and who most Burnley players are, and that's it. Which is weird. She just decided she's a Burnley fan one year and follows them. But I talked to her about Enzo Fernandez leading a racist, homophobic chant.
And videotape himself doing it.
Live streaming, I think, himself doing it.
Yeah.
Let's call it 1.5 times. Because he also, I don't know if you were on the episode we talked about this. I think you were, but like as part of his, dude, my eyebrow is in a weird state. Anyway,
so now we all know what you think about while we
Anyway, so Fernandez, he went back to River Plate, and as part of his like post Copa America tour, they like retired his jersey or something, and the fans started singing that chant while he was pretty weird for him to come back and then be given the captaincy. while they're doing what they're doing to Conor Gallagher and to Ben Chilwell, which we can talk about in a minute. Robert Sanchez had some like very sketchy moments. I still don't know if he's the one. There was like one pass and
made a couple good saves.
Made a couple good saves.
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
so he's a good shot stopper, but the problem is with this system, the expectation is that you have a very good ball playing goalie.
And go buy one of those instead of whatever the fuck else has been bought over the past 5 days.
Yeah. So his decision making on the ball is scary. Is my assessment of that. Made great saves though, very good saves. So I don't want to take that away from him. I think the midfield group looked really good. Lavia, Caicedo, Fernandez. That's the setup we were crying out for all last season. They're all healthy. They're all playing together. Cole Palmer did Cole Palmer things. I thought he looked pretty good. And then, off the bench, we got to see Pedro Neto, Kieran Dewsbury, Hall, Mark Gui.
Yeah, Gui came on the Barcelona product. Yeah.
I just don't know how to say his name yet. I need to
pressed with a lot of energy, but that was
he's great. I really like him.
Pressed well, but didn't really contribute.
Yeah, and then Renato Vega, who I like quite a bit. Cucurella, I thought looked really good at times in this game. So that said, in terms of performance, the commentators for the American broadcast were really, really down on Chelsea after this one. I didn't think they played that bad.
So easy to be, though.
Chelsea actually beat City on expected goals, which I know isn't everything, but it does sort of tell you how a match went. So it was 1.23 expected goals for Chelsea, 0.82 xG for Man City. City did not have the best chances. The goals that were scored were both great individual efforts and great finishing. Both teams created one big chance. Total shots was about even, 10 for Chelsea, 11 for Man City. Goalkeepers both had to make 3 saves, or both made 3 saves, I should say. Chelsea with more corners. Chelsea committed more fouls. Passing was about even. Chelsea more tackles. Ball possession was about even. 48 Chelsea, 52 Man City. And if you keep it that close with City on possession, that's kind of big. So for a team that is picking up a whole new system, didn't have much of a preseason to do that with all the international competitions going on, the Olympics, Euros. I'll take it. This is a tough draw. This is a nightmare draw for a team to have with a whole new system and a truncated start to their a truncated preseason, I guess, let's say.
Yeah, so now that we're done listening to the Chelsea apologist over here.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I would take it a little more dire. So I think that the start of the season, probably about the same. You're right on the Man City. It's a tough draw, but Man City wasn't that good. What I would say about all those kinds of stats that you shut off, particularly the possession, would be, my question is, where did they have possession? Most of Chelsea's possession was relatively controlled by Man City's shape, which is a pretty well-known early season trait of Man City. I felt watching it that Man City were pretty much in control of about 80% of the game. Now, are they going to do that against most teams? Sure. I didn't think Chelsea looked particularly dynamic through the midfield. While I think in terms of stability, the 3, Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo make sense. There's not really enough creativity in there. Enzo doesn't like to play with his back to goal. He turns okay, but his real skill is playing like a quarterback with a little bit more of a deep lying position where he can spray diagonals. So it was kind of hard to see the real benefit in that. I thought it was just kind of boring, and they were looking for control, which is, you know, the new manager's kind of MO, is that it's kind of about slow control. But they never had control of the match. They basically tried to do what Man City was doing, but without better play, with less quality in the team and less time to understand the system. So I thought it was a pretty boring game, to be honest with you. Like, right, there wasn't a lot of snap in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think it's a fucking disgrace that Enzo's the captain of a football team the size and stature of Chelsea's. I think there's really no excuse for it. I don't think he needs, like, they don't have to, you know, it's like he does that, right? And again, it always becomes a little bit too much Chelsea Tottenham when I'm here. But you look at Basuma, right? Basuma, just like an idiot, fucking sent out a Snapchat to a friend of him doing the laughing gas shit. He's taken out of the team for a game. Enzo sends a video of him chanting a racist song, right? A video, been recorded, and he starts the first game as a captain without any public discernment or process to bring, you know, like that. Like they all take the knee at the beginning of the game. What process has he gone to give him education about what he said, essentially? I don't see any of that. So kind of right away in the game, he's the captain. I have a little bit of a down feeling on it, but I generally don't really understand his position in that 10 role, in that further forward role. I think you've got to have Nkunku or Palmer in that space because they can turn, they can play the balls in behind for the runs Jackson made. I thought some of the runs Jackson made were pretty good, but kind of traditional Nico Jackson issues, just like offsides, little lack of final product. But honestly, I didn't think Jackson played all that well. He stretched, he pressed, he did what he could. I thought Cucurella looks pretty good, like he's down for the fight. That was really positive. He really shut up, what's his name, Doku, for a while. I think it was an opportunity for Chelsea to come out and really be aggressive, but I didn't really see Doku, yeah. He did a really good job against Doku when Doku was playing on his side. Yep. He really shut him down. Really impressive stuff. But yeah, the team just doesn't feel balanced, honestly. Like, I think the fact that they have not had training sessions with a focused team was a little bit evident. And that's what's evident about that midfield for me. It's all about structure. It's all about kind of defensive shape. And that tells me they haven't had time to gel the attacking profile of the team because, you know, Cole Palmer has been gone. Enzo has been gone. So Chelsea has a long way to go in terms of gelling that team, made harder by the amount of players. I would also say it was pretty. You could see that result coming. Do you agree with that? Like that felt like pretty much exactly what I expected from the game.
Like the way the game went, or the final score? Both.
The way I thought Man City were pretty much in control of large parts. You know, there were some forays forward, but it was mostly a boring, controlled game, right? There wasn't a huge amount of attacking intent from either team.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you.
I just didn't find the most compelling spectacle, and I think that's what Man City wants.
Yeah. I'm trying to... The problem... I was going to save this for later because, like, the data for this game is still coming in. I think that all of your takes are bad, but I don't have the stats to back up what I saw with my eyes. So yeah, I was trying to find the like field tilt stats or the touches in opponent's box,
and that hasn't come out yet.
I have it for Chelsea, but the like City side of that game is not populated in any source that I can find.
Well, and you know, I think the stats might not back it up, but with Man City, you often find like things like XG can be a little swayed because of where they're having controlled possession and what parts of the field they're allowing possession in, right?
Yep.
Cole Palmer didn't really have the ball more than a couple times in really dangerous positions, and Cole Palmer did well. But, you know, they were able to... I felt like Man City were able to control the tempo and the pace of the game pretty effectively.
Yeah, Palmer... I don't know, like Enzo made some pretty great progressive passes.
But that's when he came deep to get the ball. He very often does not turn and play the ball in behind, which is what a number 10 needs to do. And when a number 10 can't get on that half turn, play little balls, intricate balls through, it becomes all about deep lying diagonal play.
Yeah, I don't think that is meant to be a 10 in Maresca's system. Like it's not a 4-2-3-1.
Then he shouldn't be the furthest
it's a
midfielder
4-3-3
forward. But he was the further center midfielder
I agree
forward.
that Fernandez is out of position in that role. Yeah.
I thought Lavia was actually pretty good.
Lavia looked really good.
I think he might be better than Caicedo. Like I see a higher ceiling for him than Caicedo for some reason.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think that. I don't know enough about him. He played like 10 minutes last season.
They feel like such similar players though. Like there's a good dynamic in terms of defensive shape, but there's not there aren't complementary traits necessarily in those players. They're very similar, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
I think that well, let's pull this up.
Which and I've only seen Lavia play at Southampton, so I haven't really seen them play together that much, but just watching that game, I felt like they were very similar kind of holding players. Both good.
Yeah. I think that I could be wrong. Again, I don't know a ton about sorry, I'm pulling the stats on both of them up. Romeo Lavia. So I don't I've not watched a lot of Lavia. I didn't watch him a ton at Southampton. You're right. They are like very, very similar players. But they're not what did you call them? Like they're both classified as build-up directors. So both of them are very good at passing. For some reason, I thought Lavia was more of a line breaker, like a
Yaya Toure kind of type,
or oh god, he scored on us today.
Kovacic.
Yeah.
I will say the irony of Kovacic, who's got sold for 30 million or something like that, getting by Enzo and Caicedo with like a knife through butter. That is like fucking ironic, and it's amazing.
He wasn't like flogged out of the club like a lot of the play. Like he wanted to go, and we sent him to the best club in the world.
Just ironic enough, though. You gotta love it like a little bit.
Yeah, that's why he didn't celebrate, right? Like when you see, like if Kai Havertz scores against Chelsea, he's gonna go off because he fucking hates Chelsea. Yeah, Kovacic
respected it.
Yeah, he. I think the club. That was a situation where the club did right by him. Anyway, I don't know. I don't think I saw exactly what you did in this match. I'm hopeful. I want to see the next game.
Well, you're much more optimistic on Chelsea than I am. Like I'm coming into it pessimistic. Yeah. I do I just think that they set up to play very similarly to how Man City dictate. So they basically went player for player in a way, not not the whole game. And City is going to beat you when you do that. You either have to come out with them at a huge amount of energy, or you have to hold back and let them dictate and counter. You really can't go man to man and play the way City play and win.
And Poch was like really effective against City, and in a way that he was like not effective against many teams last season.
At the end of last season, there were chances. There was upside.
Yeah, but it was. I think it was sort of. So we have Pep's protege as our coach now, and Pep likes controlled games where he can analyze and anticipate. And Poch is like we're flipping the chessboard over. It's sowing mayhem. Yeah. And that seemed to give City problems. Yeah, I wish I had more data. I wish more data had been thrown online for this one. What I saw was that Chelsea played better than City and just couldn't finish, which is a tale as old as time for Chelsea.
And every team that plays Man City.
Yeah, and then City so I don't think that's true. I think if you looked at like City's XG has got to be way higher than almost every team they ever play. But they also have players who can outperform their the baby eater. Why can't I remember anyone's name today?
Who's a baby eater?
Yeah, the not Russian, the Norwegian baby eater on that scored.
Holland.
Holland. Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't remember Holland's name. I
couldn't remember Holland's fucking name.
Damn it.
Holland consistently outperforms his XG. So, I mean, you just have players. You have more seasoned players, more familiar with the system, and then like you get these moments of magic.
I would put it up to that system putting those high level. They're all about creating high level chances or high percentage chances, right? But when like that Holland goal, yeah, it's not super high percentage, but you've got the ball to the best goal scorer in the world, 15 yards from goal or whatever it is. He's going to score.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do anything else the whole game. So XG, again, that's just why I'm pointing to a little bit imbalanced between the kind of pointed control of the game and the way it played out.
Yeah, really poor by the Chelsea defense on that goal.
Yeah.
It was like crazy to see Holland get the ball with that much space.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. That's got to be like, if you're playing against City, do not let that happen. Make that guy earn it. I don't know.
The second goal was pretty poor defending too.
Yep.
After he cut through the midfield, no center back stepped up. They just stepped off.
Yeah. Yep.
But this is not going to be indicative of how Chelsea are. I think if they come with some of the quality that they showed today in terms of control, possession, because I do think they did that well, they'll beat a lot of teams, I think.
Yep.
It won't be as up as down as it was last year.
All right, so I'm going to rapid fire some things that happened. We're 40 minutes in already. I'm going to rapid fire. We've talked about one match. We should talk about a few other things, but here are some things that happened with Chelsea off the top of my head this week. They sent Conor Gallagher to Madrid. That deal did not go through because the deal that I was praising last week, Samu,
I was listening to that and chuckling a little bit.
Samu, I think 1 hour after we recorded the podcast last week, that deal fell apart. Yeah. So, and this is a PSR thing where, you can't do a player swap. You need money to exchange. You need both players to be sold so that then you can amortize the deal again over 5 years. So it's another stupid bookkeeping thing that teams are doing now. So it's a situation where Madrid need one of their players to go to Chelsea for Chelsea to sell Gallagher to them. Insane setup. Something has to be done about this. So Madrid has announced Gallagher as a Madrid player formally. Him in a Madrid shirt, Atletico Madrid shirt, on their social media, announced him. And now he is back in London training with the kids at Chelsea because that deal has not gone through. Omarodian is off because at the last minute Chelsea wanted 50% of his image rights. I have no idea what's normal there, but he was deeply offended by that and was I'm not negotiating with these guys anymore. So now it looks like João Felix is going to Chelsea. Where he fits in here, I have no idea. And he was not good the last time. He just is not very good, in my opinion, period.
Good play, a good individual player, terrible team player.
Yeah.
Just cannot operate in a team.
And Chelsea fans, like I listen to Chelsea specific podcasts and stuff. Like I follow Chelsea Twitter. They're overjoyed. Like if I were to say the like general consensus is that they are so stoked that João Felix is potentially coming back. And I was like, and I think Derek would agree with this. I was like, what the fuck are we doing with this? So that's one of our captains from last season, Gallagher.
And Enzo's the fucking captain today.
Through that. Oh, yeah, while Enzo Fernandez. I didn't wrap that thought up. I told Shannon when the Enzo chant happened that I was certain he would not start the first game of this season. And not only did he start, he was captain of the team. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So there was that. It does look like a good deal for João Felix. For a player, like it looks like the deal, according to Fabrizio Romano this morning, it's a £34 million deal for João Felix, which I looked it up, and Atletico all in paid 120 million euros for him. So from a business decision standpoint, which is all this, like this club is just building a portfolio of like, they're basically like dollar cost averaging across players. It's great. But yeah, I mean, so that's where all that's at. It appears
Raheem Sterling put out a fucking a statement today. Did you see that too?
Yeah. So that's all part of this too. We should mention that. So Raheem Sterling not in today's squad after I think starting in almost all of the preseason matches and looking good and being the highest paid player at Chelsea right now. He was not in today's squad. I assume they're trying to force him to take a move, and they put out a statement basically saying they want clarity on his future after he was not included in the squad today. They bought Pedro Neto, presumably because Tottenham wanted him, Tottenham and City. Pedro Neto, who played 50% of matches last season.
I think less than that.
I thought it was 50.
I thought it was a third. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But it might have been. 50 is terrible, too.
Yeah, both are bad. Yeah, whatever it is.
$60 million for half the games.
Yeah, not great. So now, like, I don't even know where Nkuku started out on the left, right? So that earlier I said we'll talk about Nkuku starting on the left. Nkuku should be where Enzo was. Enzo, I don't think in this system has a logical place on the pitch to be. And then on the left, you've got Sterling, Mudryk, Pedro Neto, and I guess potentially João Felix. I think he can play all across the front, like
midfield three. Yeah,
midfield three. Yeah, and then on the right, you've got Noni. I guess maybe Pedro, like, is played out there sometimes. Pedro Neto. You have Cole Palmer, who they've said over and over again they want to get in more centrally. And João Felix, maybe, again.
And they just gave Cole Palmer, he's extended his contract to 10 years?
I think till he's 31 years old or something like that.
That's just insane!
Yeah. Dude, it's fucked up. What else has happened? They are apparently in for Osimhen. They apparently lead the race for Osimhen right now.
Yeah.
So
and then PSG is right behind, I think.
Yeah. But so then you're in a scenario where you've got Mark Gui, you've got Nico Jackson, you have Armando Broja, you have Lukaku, who I think would go to Napoli in that exchange, but for now he's still there. And then you'd have Osimhen, who would almost he'd have to be the starter at that point.
Yeah.
So then you could say, like, Nico Jackson is also, like, he played on the left for a period of time for Chelsea last year. And then like if you just look out one more year, you have two of the biggest talents in the world, young talents like under 18 or whatever,
coming from Brazil. Yeah,
Brazil and Ecuador. So Kendry Paez and Esteval Willian,
which are not certain things. Yeah, talented, but
Yeah.
you never know.
No. Yeah, not so. They could have their legs broken. And like Paez to me looks more built for the like he's like filled out and is looking like he could take the physicality of the PL. Esteval is really slight and he gets hurt a lot in that Brazilian league. And yeah, I don't know, man. So yeah, and then you've got you've got Connor training with the kids. Lukaku, like Maresca came out. Oh right, Chile. Did you hear about Chilwell?
I know he's not in the team, but no, I don't know what's going on.
Maresca. This is just a Chelsea pod. Like until the drama stops, like all we can do in a week is get through whatever the fuck these guys have done, and then call it an episode. Like if we cover it,
you're kind of like digging the ditch for yourself. I'm kind of enjoying it, to be honest with you. I don't even need to say anything. It's like, oh, Chelsea's fucked up. Oh yeah, Chelsea's.
Well,
fucked
I kept
up.
like as I was talking about this game, you were like, well, let's talk about that, and I was like, well, wait, let's get through the game, and then we'll talk about the insanity that's happening at the club. So. Enzo Maresca in his first press conference, he said two things that I think just pour gasoline on this whole situation. One is that he is only I think he said he's got a 25-player squad, or maybe he said 28, that he is training with as the first team. So, like, when people say there are 45 people on Chelsea's first team, like, think about the delta there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's call it 20 first-team players are training with the separately. They're not training with the first team squad.
Well, and they only squeaked through the PSR regulations this year because they did deals with Aston Villa, and what's the other club they did a deal with?
They also they sold some hotels.
Yeah,
they sold the Chelsea women's team.
Did they sell the Chelsea women's team
to themselves? Yeah.
Fuck, that sounds fucked
Yep.
up.
Yeah, they sold the hotels to themselves.
There just must be a point of there must be a point of critical mass with all of this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so the problem with that statement. So I am inclined to agree with what you just said, but for some reason, they're like really effective at selling players. Like they've had a decent number of outgoings already, and I bet you see a lot of these players shipped off for profit this week. And so the issue, my fear actually, is that this process is going to be proven to be viable, to be profitable, and what that'll mean for the way large clubs approach things. Like if Chelsea prove this theory, and I think they're going to. Like I can't believe the players they've been able to move on. Like Bashir Humphrey just signed for, I forget who. Like these sort of like unknown player. Amari Hutchinson. He's at Ipswich. They signed him for free from Arsenal's academy and like found him alone with Ipswich and then sold him there a year later. Whoever the loan manager and like whoever's working these deals, like they've got to be the hardest working people.
Yeah, they're getting fucked up.
Yeah. So, and then Chilwell, right? So Maresca said, I've cleaved the team down to 25 people, let's say. And then he was specifically asked about Chilwell, and he was like, if Chilwell wants to play soccer, he should probably find somewhere else to go. The transfer window's still open. So just like threw that out there. That's your one of your other captains from last season.
And a really good player. Like who really at left back is better than Ben Chilwell?
Well, in this system, Cucurella.
But still, like Ben Chilwell's a fucking good player.
Yeah. But He's a wing back. He's not a left back, I guess.
He's much more of an attacking player, right?
Yeah, they had him training with the wingers. in preseason because they just didn't. Maresca didn't feel like he was suited for what he was looking for at left back. Yeah. So, and he's also like he's like a good dude and really loves the club. And I was out of all the captains, we had Reece James, Chile, and Gallagher as captains last season. Kind of rotated between them depending on who was healthy at the time. Captain, vice captain, and Chile was the one I was most excited about in terms of the way he like carried himself. Yeah,
well, I'll say like, and we can like kind of fuck off with Chelsea because it just is a little more depressing by the moment. But I think the real issue that I've had is not so much like their transfer policy. It seems interesting. It makes good to like conversation and all. I think it's kind of like ridiculous, but whatever. It's not my club to run. I don't have $100 million.
Yeah, no, you're circus man.
Yeah. But I do not like, and you know, again, the fans will speak to this over time. I don't love how they've treated people. Like the players who care about the club. Conor Gallagher, Ben Chilwell. The choice to make Enzo.
Dude, the one that fucks me up is Chalobah.
Yeah, it's
Trevor
just
Chalobah.
It's just like it doesn't like they're using people as pawns, and like these players are just not people to Chelsea. They're not treating them like people. They're treating them solely as like P&L, right? And I think that's disappointing, and it pulls the relationship the team has with the fans. It feels like that could happen over time. Again, you'll be the one to say that over time. But the Enzo as the captain thing just tells me there's no like empathy or understanding of the connection a club has to its fans. That's what it feels like to me. Every
time we sign a new player, especially a young player, I'm like, what are we telling them? Like, why would anyone sign up for this? And they don't just sign up for it, they sign a decade-long deal.
Because players they're leveraging long-term stability with signing young players. They're saying, you can, no matter what, you get a broken leg, you tear your ACL, you suck. You're signed here for 10 years. Mm-hmm. That gives players long-term stability. That's why some of the young ones are coming. Like, it makes sense to me.
Does it? If
you're absolutely.
If you're 18...
Let me go to the biggest club in the world and secure my professional career for the next 10 years.
Esteval Willian could have signed for any club.
But how many were giving 10-year contracts out or 8-year contracts out?
Yeah, but at 18, you're like, I think my leg's going to fall off. Like, let's sign a 10-year deal instead of...
When you only have a 12 to 15-year career, yeah, why the fuck not? Like, I'm not saying that's the reason for all of them. But, like, it just opens it up. Like, how am I not supposed to interpret that, like, a little bit that way? How am I not supposed to interpret people, right, who play football for a professional career, when they get a 10-year contract, that they're not going to, like, pull off the chain a little bit because they're on a 10-year contract. They're secure.
I watch in, like, other sport, like, in basketball and football, like, players will deliberately take shorter contracts because, I mean, it's not entirely the same, but they're, like, banking on the fact that the market will move up. Like the amount that teams are having to pay players is going up year over year. Like inflation is happening at a minimum. So you're locking yourself into a pay package for 10 years. Like
I'm not saying this is the only reason. I'm not making like a one size fits all justification, but I'm just giving some of the rationality to it.
Yeah.
Like from a person perspective, right? These guys are people. They're not just P&L sheets. And it feels really like right now to me that Chelsea has lost all ability to recruit and empathize with the people in their organization, the playing staff, right? It just feels disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's fucked up. The whole thing is fucked.
Fucking Tom Bowley, man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I guess.
He's fucking on a super yacht somewhere in Russia right now.
Right. Yeah, sorry, last thing. I saw this graphic. I threw it in the Discord. Chelsea, since in the history of English football, this is the total money spent on transfer fees. Chelsea is number 1 overall at 3.8 2.87 billion spent on transfer fees. 1.32 of that has come under Todd Bowley. So like, about a third of it. And
in 5 years? Is it 5 years?
Dude, it's been 3 years.
3 years, yeah. That's fucking...
3 years, yeah. And it puts them, if you just took that amount of spending, it would put them, that alone, the 3 years of Todd Bowley would put them as the 10th most spent. I was surprised to see Tottenham was in fifth, 2.13 billion.
Yeah, it's not
nothing to show for it.
It's about like a third of It's not that much comparatively, but it's a lot.
What do you mean it's not that much comparatively?
I don't know.
It's 2/3 of what Chelsea have spent.
I feel like $1 billion more is a significant. Who's in second and third?
Second is City. City would have outspent Chelsea if it weren't for Todd Bowley's tenure. So City's at 2.87. United's at 2.71. Liverpool 2.15, Tottenham 2.13. So you're like in the mix with clubs that are good.
Okay.
Yeah. And have won nothing. So
the whole crowd laughs.
Great work. You guys have Leicester on Monday. How do you feel about that?
You know, I'm not quite as hot as everybody going into the season about Spurs for some reason. I think we're
hot on Spurs this season.
I think like the fans are. I think like there's a lot of really young talent in the team. I think it's going to take another year. I think we're looking at I think we could get a result against Leicester. We should beat them. It'll be fun to see Scotty Parker on the other sideline for the other team. I really like Scotty Parker. He's Leicester's manager.
I think Leicester will finish last in the PL.
You really do?
I really do.
Yeah.
I think they're a mess.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we should win the game. It's a good way to start the season for us. But it is always a little awkward. You saw that a little bit with Ipswich versus Liverpool, which was actually a pretty good game, especially in the first half. These like newly promoted teams really come with a huge amount of energy. The good thing about Spurs, I think we play with a lot of energy, so we can match that. Really excited about Lucas Bergvall. I think that dude's going to be a fucking player.
Yeah, I talked about this a bit last week. You are higher on him than on
Archie Gray. I think Archie Gray might be a better player over time, but I think Lucas Bergvall is the profile and the position he plays. I think he'll reach a level higher sooner, but I think Archie Gray's overall arc could be much higher.
Yeah,
I'm pretty hot on Archie Gray. The big thing about Tottenham this year is that we've totally changed the age complexion of the team. It's like we must have one of the youngest teams in the league this year. Even first teamers last year. So really like Dominic Solanke as a signing too. He's not in the age profile. He's at 26, but I think he'll be a good signing. No reason he doesn't get 20 plus goals this year.
Yeah,
because we do create a lot of chances, even if teams can score a lot on us.
Well,
but I think it'll be a good season. I'm excited. I'm still hot on Ange. I think he's the right manager for the club. Europa League should definitely be a target for us. We'll see what happens.
Trying to check this out. So that you brought up the Liverpool match. Look at.
Did you text some to me?
I sent it to you on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the first. Did you watch that Liverpool match?
I did. Parts of it, yeah. I probably watched 20 minutes in the first half, about 20 minutes in the second.
Yeah, so they subbed. What was the sub? It was a defender. Trying to see.
I don't remember. I was really impressed by Ipswich. It's just hard for a team like that to really maintain that level of energy over 90 minutes.
Yeah.
For a promoted team to go there and it was at Ipswich, to play and really hurt Liverpool, it was pretty impressive, but obviously Liverpool has the players. It's very hard to maintain that.
Yeah.
I think Ipswich stays up this year.
I think so too. They're trying to sign Armando Broja is the big rumor. they're trying to convince Broya of their project, which it's like, dude, just fucking go. Like, it's
just
better
get the
than
fuck out of Chelsea.
Yeah,
Like,
get
you're
the
never gonna
fuck
play.
out.
You're
Like,
never gonna play.
Yeah,
And it's not his fault either.
No. Yeah,
You're not gonna get the chance.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Chelsea kit right now, and I am saying you should go anywhere else if you want a career at this. Like, yeah. Anyway, I thought, like, I couldn't identify a specific. So what I sent you was the expected threat timeline for that match.
I saw it.
And something happened at the end of the first half. Liverpool just came out ready to fucking rip.
That's what good teams do.
Yeah,
Like,
and it looked totally different in the second half.
Yeah.
They were definitely more. They were more on the front foot. They were doing a lot of like passing around their defensive line in the first 45.
Yeah.
But it. Yeah, dude.
Well, it's players and a new manager. You know, Gravenbeck I thought was really good. Slobosly was pretty good. Salah was really good. I think it's just like new players and a new manager not really knowing how the intensity of the game is going to fit what they've done in training. And I just think it took them a half. You know, that Liverpool team, it looks good. It does. They're missing a 6 for sure, but there are a lot of goals in there.
Yeah.
In that team.
How do you like the new haircut from Mohamed Salah?
Dude, I don't know how it took him so long. Like, that sucks
I don't
having
either.
all that. That's a lot of fucking hair to place.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think he's balding like a little bit probably, so
Yeah.
it's probably starting to like get kind of thin in front. But I respect him for having it so long. But I think he looks good. He appears like more built without the hair. Like, his shoulders look bigger, kind of. You know, like
That dude's yoked.
yeah.
Period.
You can notice it a little bit more without the head flowing. The hair flow. Excuse me.
Yeah, that guy doesn't eat a single unnecessary calorie.
There is not a carb in his fucking diet.
Fuck no. There's got to be carbs. That dude runs like crazy, but yeah.
You're right.
Every calorie is accounted for.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to think of the Garnacho miss at the end of the Man United game was hilarious.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, Man United looked okay. Not like Fulham just were not up for that one.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what else. Brighton beat the shit out of Everton.
Yeah, Everton doesn't look good at all, man. Like,
No.
that team just looks like it's gonna get relegated.
They might get another point deduction too.
Wouldn't be surprising. They need to get into that new stadium and generate some bigger revenues to get players in.
Yeah.
That team is in free fall. I kind of thought Man United were actually pretty good in that game. I was a little surprised how effective I thought they were. Zirkzee, you know, don't know how good he is yet, but scoring on your debut is fucking amazing. So they're going to have a lot. I think United is going to be more of a dangerous team this year than they were last year.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going to be kind of like Hitmen, where they can go to big teams, because they are a big team. But
Casemiro, I had written him off by the end of last season.
He
looked good.
He looks like he's lost like some weight.
Yeah.
He's a little bit fitter. And, you know, you never know what goes on with a player in terms of losing weight. It's not like he was ever fat. It's just like he looks more in shape to run, really.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good team, actually.
Yep. All right. I guess let's talk about, to wrap things up, final topic, Pochettino.
Yeah, I just had brought that up. Coming to the U.S. men's national team, or it looks like it.
How do you? I'm guessing you're stoked about this.
Like, of course I love Pochettino because of what he did at Tottenham, and I think you should not hate him for what he did at Chelsea. But I don't know. It could be interesting. I don't think he's really a national team manager. Like, he doesn't really fit the profile. I think it'll depend a little bit how much Pochettino becomes integrated with U.S. soccer as a whole. My feeling is probably not really that much. I think he's going to live in Europe still. So we'll see how that goes. I think he'll be a better manager than fucking Greg Berhalter, so it's a step up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it's going to benefit specific players, like Anthony Robertson. I think he's gonna do well in that team with Pochettino there. I think the team's going to press a lot more effectively. So I think, oh my God, what's his name? Balogun. I think it'll be good for Balogun.
I think Balogun's going to be. Yeah. Balogun is very as similar in profile to Harry Kane as
at the beginning of his career. Yeah, he does have some of that. Yeah, I think it's like I think this U.S. Soccer Federation knew that they had to make a bigger and more high profile appointment, and I think they did it. And Greg, I just watched a fucking Men in Blazers episode. They interviewed Fabiano, whatever his name is, Fabrizio Romano. Yeah. And Romano was like, yeah, there have been no rumors about Berhalter anywhere. Not a whisper. Oh. And I'm like, not surprising. Because,
why? I wonder why.
I think it could kill Pochettino's career, too. It could happen.
Why? Why would it kill his career?
I don't know. If the U.S. comes into a home World Cup and they get knocked out in the group stage,
yeah,
that would not be good for Pochettino.
I mean, so we've talked a lot about how different tactically you need to be for an international tournament versus a club.
Not just tactically, it's how you coach the team, right? It's in little spurts instead of long progressive
right,
time.
And so that informs the tactics that you can roll. You can't
a little bit, yeah.
You can't coach up a Pep Guardiola system when you have the team for limited amounts of time throughout the year, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think Poch's system? I have my answer. Do you think Poch's tactics are well suited for a national team setup?
I'd say probably not.
Okay. Why?
Honestly. Because I think that what he does really well is work with young players and build the quality of a team over time, right? Every team he's coached except PSG, right? It's taken a year, essentially, for the team to get up and running. Southampton, Tottenham, and I would argue Chelsea if you look towards the end of the season. And he's just not going to have that much time. What I like about Pochettino is that my hope is that he integrates the kind of high press, high athleticism tactics that he uses, particularly with young players, into the broader U.S. system. I think that would be positive. A little bit more tactical, a little bit more technical. But I don't think he's going to be the best international manager. I think that he needs time with players.
So I would have said, or I will say, that I think it's a good appointment because theoretically what we have to offer is a pretty high level of intensity with the players that we have. And Berhalter, I think, was reluctant to let them use that physicality. He was trying to
athleticism. You mean?
Yeah. Athleticism, physicality, speed,
lower technical ability, higher athletic peak. Right? Yeah.
Poch, I think, is tactically really stupid.
You are really wrong about that.
I think that was on absolutely showcased at Chelsea all last season, where he regressed at halftime, game in and game out, was out-coached almost every game, in terms of tactical tweaks throughout the matches. Basically changed nothing all season until he inverted Cucurella, which the rumor is that was the club told him he needed to do that, and that was part of the dispute at the end of the season. I think he is not good tactically.
Yeah.
But I think that's fine.
Yeah.
For an internet, if he's going to teach these players to press and create turnovers and capitalize on those chances, and he's great in a press conference, which is a weird thing to think about, but I think going into a home World Cup, having a guy with that level of swagger, I think is good.
Gives the team it's more of a vibes higher in some ways. You're saying, Yeah, I think that you're
Yeah.
totally off base with the tactical elements of what he was trying to do at Chelsea, but that's like neither here nor there. We don't have to agree about that. You can just be wrong. It's okay.
The Poch apologist. Always Poch apologist.
Yeah, I'll take that mantle for today. So I don't know. I think that I can see it working out. And I think it is actually a good appointment. I just don't think he's going to be the best international management. I don't think is really going to be his best position. I think it's a good appointment because it raises the profile of the game. He will definitely get better results than Greg Berhalter. I would hope so. It'd be hard to do worse. And I think the team will play with more aggression, which is what I would like to see. That was like the Clint Dempsey days, like they just had swagger and they kind of wanted to beat the shit out of everybody, like they wanted to get really into teams.
Mm-hmm.
And that Greg really took that away. So I think you make a really good point. Like Poch will bring the aggression back to that team.
Yeah.
Like unleash Musa, right? Huge athletic potential. Just fucking let him destroy the game. Yeah. And we can feed off the scraps.
And hopefully he takes Matt Turner out back and shoots him. Hopefully his relationship with Slonina at Chelsea.
It's like the second Matt Turner got like a couple starts at Nottingham Forest right last year. Everybody was like, "Oh, Matt Turner, he hasn't even been playing soccer that long." And right after everybody figured that out, he didn't play soccer long enough to be at this level.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, he didn't kick a ball until he was like 22, and he 18, looks like 19, it. Yeah.
Everybody figured it out.
He's
like, just
fucking
shoot.
Terrible.
You know, in like Volo, when you have a goalie, you're warming up, you watch, and you're just like, hey guys, just shoot as much as possible. That's what every single team, like at halftime, guys, you're not shooting enough. This goalie, not good enough. Just shoot at him. Run at him and shoot.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like, just put it on goal and something will happen. Yeah.
Not that the U.S. really has that many great options to be end goal, but again, I think the one of the big upsides of Poch is that he does have a history of developing young players and improving them, coaching them to improve. I think that we can talk about his technical nuances or lack thereof, but I think that he does have a really good history of making players better.
I wonder what Slonina's even doing this. Like, Chelsea have to find a loan for him or something.
Chelsea have to find a loan for like 30 people. They have an HR issue. They don't even have like a transfer issue.
You can have 6 international loans, is that right?
I don't know.
All the other ones I think have to be domestic.
It all doesn't matter. It's all just crazy.
He's at Barnsley. Okay. Slonina, yeah, he's at Barnsley, the League One side. Yeah, so I mean, I guess we'll see. That's a good loan for him, actually. I hope that he comes good. There's Zach Steffen. There's what's his name?
Evan Horvath.
Yeah,
he had a terrible own goal this weekend. Yeah,
a fucking nightmare of a game.
Dumbass.
Yeah. How did we go from the U.S. basically only produced goalies for a while, and
Brad
and
Friedel,
now
Brad Guzman, Tim Howard.
And now we're so bad at keeper. We're so fucking bad.
It's okay.
Derek's yapping in the
I refuse to
Twitch.
respond to Derek.
Yeah, he's not here, so he doesn't get a platform.
He doesn't exist. I exist when I'm not here. Derek
says, Ben Chilwell is the least of our problems. The UAE treats people much better than Chelsea does, for sure.
Oh my god!
For fuck's sake.
Poor Conor Gallagher.
I guess that's it. Did you have anything else you wanted to roll through?
No, I think that was a good little conversation there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we learn some more next week about your good old Chelsea bags and Spurs on Monday. Yeah, I think
they have to loan. Dude, Chelsea has to loan 20 players out or sell.
Conference League on Wednesday too. So that'll be a real exciting.
Oh
game.
yeah,
Super exciting.
we'll see. All right, that's a podcast. We are on Discord. We talked about that a little bit. Come join us. There's like more people joining every week. Conversation is like there's conversations pretty consistently happening in there. So link is in the description of this episode. And like and subscribe. Leave reviews, whatever. Dislike, I don't care. Whatever you want to do. And we'll catch you next week. You could watch us on Twitch, but there's no consistency due to Luke, so I can't tell you when to check us out on Twitch. But
Sorry.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys next week.
See you later.